This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
What a huge weekend it is in Morgantown, West Virginia, as the Penn State Nittany Lions come to town to take on the Mountaineers. But today at 12 noon, something cool is also happening, and that is the Pat McAfee Show will be live in Morgantown, hosting the show there near the Life Sciences building, and he's going to have a lot of special guests on the show, former Mountaineers, current Mountaineers, Neil Brown, Ren Baker. It's going to be a great show. So I thought, you know what? Why not do a live stream leading up to that? Let's answer some questions that I posted on X a few days ago. Let's talk Penn State, West Virginia football. Let's raise some money for a good cause, and let's celebrate this great weekend in Morgantown. And I want to thank each of you for coming in. I want to give a shout out real quick to my channel sponsors, BetUS Online Sportsbook and Casino, and Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner, attorneys at law. If you need a personal injury attorney, give them a shout. Matter of fact, I need to play that ad right now before we get too far into the show. Since 1931, the attorneys at Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner have been the voice for victims who have suffered serious injury or death. They have a fierce passion for truth and justice and a sincere compassion for those who have been wronged by others. Whether you have been in a car accident or fighting with an insurance company, or you or a loved one has suffered serious injury or death due to medical negligence, we will ensure your voice is heard loud and clear. Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner will ensure there is justice for all West Virginians because we are your lawyer, your voice. Visit us at yourlawyeryourvoice.com. What is up, Mountaineer Nation and fellow college football fans? Welcome into another edition of Couz's Corner. Belly yourself up to the bar. Let me pour you out a live shot of top shelf college football content on tap in this live edition. Again, Q&A. I posted some questions on X a few days ago. I'm going to answer those. I'm going to draw the names out of this good-looking coonskin cap. I'm going to answer those questions. We're going to have a couple special guests appearing later in the show. A couple Mountaineer fans, a couple fellow podcasters. We also have a very special guest coming on here in about 15 minutes that I think you guys are going to be thrilled about. I don't want to spoil the surprise, but this is a special episode too because I saw on X yesterday Oliver Straw, the West Virginia punter, put this out. He says, this year I am dedicating every punt I land inside the opponent's 20-yard line this year to help Landon Jaggy, a teenager from Clarksburg, West Virginia, to help him punt cancer. Pledge a donation at the link in bio to help support Landon. Let's go Ears. So what I decided to do, I was planning on doing this show today anyway, and I thought, you know what? Why not do my part, use my platform to support this great cause? We saw Garnett Hollis Jr., the defensive back, do something similar last week. Ollie Straw's doing it this week. And, I didn't want to pick favorites, but since this one was more recent and I saw that where Garnett's goal had already been reached, I thought, you know what, let's chip in and help this young man. Can't go wrong helping a young man who's battling cancer. I think we all can sympathize with this young man and his family. So I'm going to, any super chat you guys want to give today, I will donate my portion of that. Obviously, YouTube's going to take their cut, but any portion that would be mine, I'm donating that to Landon Jaggy through Champs Raise, who is the platform that Ollie is using here. So just letting you guys know, any super chat you give me today, I'm not keeping. I'm donating it directly to Champs Raise to help Landon Jaggy. So just wanted to point that out and let you guys know my plans here for the show today. All right. Let me see who all's in the chat so far. We've got Browns and Beers. We've got Joey Foster in the house. Thank you, Joey, for joining the show. Browns and Beers says, hey, Couz, going to the show today. Pumped. Driving up to Morgantown now, just a bit south of Flatwoods. Man, enjoy your drive. If any of you listening to this on your drive home, do not look at the screen while you're driving. Please be safe. You can listen to my Appalachian voice on your way up to Morgantown. The special guests that we have coming on, you can listen to them as well. Plan on doing this show to somewhere between the 11:30, 12 o'clock hour. We will quit, but may even go up to noon. It's going to depend on how the show goes. But I still have to pack for my trip. I'll be leaving myself for Morgantown later tonight. After my wife gets home from work, we're going to head out. We're going to go somewhere, grab a nice dinner, or I don't know how nice, but we're going to grab dinner, something we like. It's nice to us anyway. We're going to go grab some dinner somewhere. We're going to spend the night in Weston tonight, actually, Weston, West Virginia. We're staying a little bit further south and because of room prices. And then we're going to get up in the morning and head up to the game. Man, I couldn't be more excited. What a weekend in Morgantown. I was thinking about something. You know, Colorado's got all this attention on them, right? Because of Dion and all the stuff he brings to the table. But I was thinking, is West Virginia, because of this event and the Pat McAfee Show, is West Virginia kind of right now, at least today, the second I don't want to say the second biggest brand, but the second brand who is getting the most media attention on them right now in the Big 12. I find that to be an intriguing conversation. What do you guys think? I mean, the Pat McAfee Show's in Morgantown. You've got Fox Big Noon Kickoff coming to town tomorrow. They're bringing Machine Gun Kelly with them. Charles Wesley Godwin's been in town. He may even be there today. You've got former West Virginia players showing up today. Deuce McBride, who's an NBA player, is showing up. You have Pat White showing up, Owen Schmidt showing up, Neil Brown and Ren Baker are going to be on the Pat McAfee Show. I mean, Pat McAfee's one of the biggest voices in all of sports right now, maybe even in pop culture in general. And him, West Virginia now embracing him and welcoming him back with open arms and him holding events in Morgantown, that is absolute PR that money can't buy, folks. And I think it's going to do nothing but help West Virginia's image as far as, you know, students wanting to come to West Virginia, maybe want to enroll in West Virginia. People want to tune into the game maybe even and see, hey, I may not know much about West Virginia, but I know who Pat McAfee is, and he talks a lot about them, so let me see what the Mountaineers are all about. And I think it's awesome for the program, for the school, for the city of Morgantown, and for the fan base, man. It's awesome that this current administration is now embracing our former players much better than some past ones did. That Pat McAfee's now feels welcome back in Morgantown again. And, man, I think it's awesome. Like I said, outside of Colorado, I feel like West Virginia may be the second program that's kind of number 2 on that list in the Big 12 as far as how much outside media, not just, you know, sports media or Big 12 media, but just media in general and attention that's going to their program. I think it's really cool. All right. Let me see what other comments we might have here. If you guys want to make sure I see your comment, be sure, drop a super chat, hit the $, leave your comment, and any super chat I'm getting today, remember, I'm sending it directly to Landon Jaggy to support him in his fight with cancer. YouTube keeps their share. Whatever share I would make is going straight to Landon Jaggy. As a fundraiser that I mentioned earlier that was presented by West Virginia punter Ollie Straw. And I'm really excited to support that cause and that mission. As a dad myself, I can only imagine what his family's going through right now. I can only imagine what that young man's going through. And I wanted to do something to support it. So I'm glad that Ollie put that out yesterday and gave me the chance to do this. And the super chat is also a way, you know, to make sure your comment gets read. Yeah, Joe Missoula too, Joey. Great point. Joe Missoula was there a few days ago as well. Won't let me super chat. Only option to buy memberships. Anyone else having that trouble? Man, I hope that's not the case. Anybody else having issues? Oh, no. Well, guys, if it's not going to let you super chat, this is not good. Wrong day for this to be happening. I'm going to drop my cash tag. There's my cash tag. My cash tag is in the chat. If you guys, apparently it's not letting me, I'm in the process. Man, that sucks. I'm in the process of switching my YouTube channel over to another Google account because I now started an LLC. And I guess because of that transition, the super chats have been turned off. So, or let me go in here. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Bear with me a second. See if I can make a change here on the go. That is Cash App, Pokemon. Let me pull up my account and see what I can do to try to make this baby, see if I can turn it back. Maybe it's turned off or something. Monetization. Because I want to be able to do these super chats to raise money. Well, the cash tag should work, Kelly. I don't know what to tell you about that. That's the right cash tag. I'm on PayPal as well. Couz's Corner. If you guys PayPal works. Venmo too, by the way. Yeah, I do have Venmo. It is let me look up my shoot. Sorry, guys. I'm going to do this on the fly here. I don't use Venmo a lot, so I don't know how to find my. Oh, it's just at Couz's Corner on Venmo. It should be Couz's Corner at all three. Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App should all be Couz's Corner. I really wanted to do this fundraiser for Landon, so let me see if I can turn on my. Maybe there's something going on with my. Yep, that's what it is. It has. It's still reviewing my new account, or it's not a new account, but it's, I'm switching it over to a new Google account. Anytime you do that, YouTube has to approve it through the. It's kind of complicated, but anyway, that's what the problem is. I should have waited till after this show to do that. I didn't realize it was going to cause me any problems, but still, cash tag me, Venmo me, all at Couz's Corner. PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, all at Couz's Corner. If you guys want to support Landon and his fight against cancer here, and again, and heck, you can also just thank you, Joey, for gifting the membership, brother. You can also. I'll tell you what I also do. I'll show again. Ollie Straw you can just do it through Ollie's link. This is Ollie Straw's link. If you want to support that way, you can do that as well. I don't know if YouTube will let me post that link in there or not. They're kind of funny about that kind of stuff. But go to Ollie Straw's Twitter account at Ollie_Straw. Let me show it again on the screen. Go to Ollie_Straw. You see a link on his post there about Landon, and you can click that and you can pledge donations to help Landon out. That's another way you can do it as well. So there are a lot of ways you can do it. You can go to champsraise.com, and I'm sure there's a way there you can do it. It's champs, CHAMPSRAISE.com. A lot of ways you can support it since my super chats aren't working. What's up, Mouth of the Mountains? We got Pokemon Kid Entertainment. Thank you, Pokemon Kid Entertainment. He says he sent money. Again, and the cool thing about it is if you send me money through PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo, YouTube doesn't get any of it, and I'll send 100% of that to Landon. So it might actually work out better. Do I like to party? Hope you get to drink lots of beer on this great football weekend. I don't drink beer. I do drink mixed drinks occasionally. Runsy Rage 07. Not sure how much drinking I'll do because we're not going to probably not going to have time to tailgate tomorrow because we're not leaving. We're not early risers. And like I said, we're already staying like an hour away from the stadium anyway. So by the time we get up there, we probably won't have much time to tailgate. So if any at all. Big Aaron got gifted a membership. And it looks like Pokemon Kid Entertainment did as well, unless he was already a member. Who else we got in the house? We have WVUJK says, that sucks, man. Hope we get it working soon. Yeah, I've got it. As soon as they get my account reapproved, it'll be fine. It just, the timing's terrible. and I should have waited. I didn't realize this was going to be an issue. Carl Surface says, good luck to Princeton tonight. I'll be at the Bluefield Grant. Princeton actually played last night, Carl. They beat Capital last night. I don't remember. I don't know what the final score was. We have a very special guest joining the show, ladies and gentlemen. The young man, Landon Jaggy himself, is joining the show. Landon, how are you doing today, buddy?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I got on here. I don't know if you know anything about YouTube.
Yeah, I do.
But you can give super chats and all that. Well, I'm in the process of changing my YouTube account over to a different Google account. Well, unfortunately, my super chats aren't working, but because we're trying to raise some money for you, buddy. Yep. So, but I've got some people sending me cash apps and Venmos and stuff like that. So we're going to have some money coming your way, my man.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I really appreciate what Oliver Straw's doing there for you. And I saw him post that on X yesterday, and I wanted to do my part. So
thank you so much. That's awesome.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Obviously, you don't have to tell us where you live or anything. Don't want to get too detailed here, but I know you're from Clarksburg. Do you?
Yeah, I'm from Clarksburg.
Are you at home today, or where you at?
No, I'm at the hospital. I had to get labs done at like 9 a.m. We're just now finishing up. So I was hoping that I'd be able to join this whenever I got in the car, but it's fine.
Yeah, I could have worked around your schedule, buddy, if I needed to.
No. I'm just in the process of leaving, so I'm just waiting on them. So it's perfect. Okay. Perfect time.
That's cool. We won't keep you on here real long. I just wanted to introduce you to the audience here. Are you at WVU Medicine Children's today, or is that the hospital you're at?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's the hospital I get all my treatments and everything down at.
Okay. They do a great job there, don't they?
Yeah, they do an awesome job.
Yep, it's a great hospital. I really respect the work they do there. But so tell us, are you a Mountaineer football? Are you a Mountaineer fan?
I have a WVU shirt.
Oh, there you go. I like it.
Yeah, mom made me wear my WVU shirt today because game day is tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
your mama sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, I was with mom whenever I don't know, yesterday or the day before, and she was telling me about this, and I looked up so do you have like a set YouTube channel, or is this like your YouTube channel what you're streaming on?
It's my YouTube channel, and I'm streaming on X too, but yeah, this is my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I was trying to find it to see, but
yeah, it's called Couz's Corner. It's spelled a little weird. It's Couzs.
Yeah.
That's my nickname that I've had since the 7th grade. Yep.
That's cool.
Yep. Yeah, my buddies gave me that nickname, and it stuck. We got a comment for you here. It says, "Cheers, beers, and Mountaineers." Leaves a comment. He says, "I remember when I was a young Mountaineer fan like you, Landon. The love for the Mountaineers never goes away. You have many fun seasons ahead of you."
Oh, yeah. Love the Mountaineers.
Yeah. And you're 16, right?
17.
17. Okay. I don't know why I thought 16.
Yeah, I turned 18 on the 12th of September.
Okay. Oh, so, I have a September birthday too.
Really?
Yeah, 23rd.
Oh. I feel like everyone I know is a September birthday.
I'm a little bit older than you though, but
yeah.
I'll be 44 on my birthday.
Wow.
I'm an old man.
Not look 44.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. If I grew my hair out on top, I would look 44. I'd look probably 54. But anyway, I've got daughters. You're about your age, man. I got one that's about a year older than you, and I've got one that's a couple years younger than you. So I've got teenagers in my house. So
that's awesome.
So yeah, we live down in the southern part of the state. Are you familiar with Princeton High School?
Do you know where that is? Yeah. I don't know where that is. I live in West Virginia and don't know where anything is.
Well, hey, that's okay. I'm 3 hours away from you, man, so I don't expect you to. What high school do you attend, Landon?
I went to Robert C. Byrd.
Robert C. Byrd.
Yeah.
Good school, man. I know I have some business colleagues whose kids went to Robert C. Byrd. So
really?
Yep.
I definitely liked it a lot more than WI. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Browns and Beers just made a great point. We play Pitt 2 days after your birthday. That'd be a good birthday
really,
present for you, wouldn't it? If the Mountaineers can knock off the Panthers.
I gotta get some tickets and come to some games this season.
I hear you. So tell everybody, obviously I told you about the YouTube issue I'm dealing with, but people can send me money through PayPal, Cash App, and all that. What other ways is there for people to support you and what you're dealing with right now with your cancer battle, man?
Good. Your GoFundMe.
My GoFundMe.
Oh, you have a GoFundMe. Okay.
Yeah, I have a GoFundMe.
All right. Do you know,
Yep.
Is it just under your name or what?
What's it under? Yeah, it's under my name.
You search Landon.
If you just search Landon Jaggy, like GoFundMe, it'll probably pop up. And it'll have all my pictures and all my history of like everything that I'm going through on it. So
Okay.
I post the updates on Facebook a lot.
yeah, and my parents post a lot updates like all the time on Facebook. So
Okay.
even when I have labs, they'll post updates.
What's the Facebook? What's their name on Facebook?
What's your Facebook name?
Golden Archer.
Golden Archer. And then what's mom's? Tammy Jaggy.
Yeah.
And then my mom's is Tammy Jaggy.
Jaggie?
Jaggie. Yep.
Okay. All right. I'm typing that in the chat box as we speak.
Okay.
Of course, the thing that Oliver's going for you.
All right. So I don't know if you feel comfortable talking about it. Do you want to tell the folks kind of what it is you're going through right now and
So when was it? 2020 when all this happened?
2022.
So 2022, I went to a trampoline park with a couple of my friends up here in Morgantown.
Mm-hmm.
And I was playing dodgeball, and I threw a dodgeball, and my right arm, my humerus bone, completely snapped in half.
Ooh.
And I came here to WVU, and they found a tumor that was in my arm, and I had to get surgery. And when did I start treatment? Do you remember?
That was in December of 2020.
And I started all my treatment in December. And then I got done. Osteosarcoma was what the type of cancer it was.
Okay.
And I got done with that. And then it showed up in my rib. And I had to go again through treatment, which is what I'm going through now. But it went from my rib to my lungs, and I have like a couple other bony spots that aren't too big, so we're not super worried about them. We're just keeping a close eye on them. But that's what I'm finishing up right now, and I go on my Make-A-Wish this Sunday to Hawaii for a week.
Wow. Awesome.
Yep. And then when I come back from that, I'll have one more round of chemo, and then I'll do a maintenance chemo, and I'll be done because it's not coming back.
That'll be a great day, brother. I
Yep.
can't wait. You gonna get to ring the bell and the whole bit when you're done?
So I haven't decided if I'm going to do that again. I've done it. I did it the first time, but they told me if I wanted to do it again, I could. So I got to decide.
I got you. All right. That's
But
up to you.
I'm not too sure.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. I tell you, I admire you and your courage and the battle you're going through and the way you're dealing with it. I mean, you seem to be facing it head on with courage and confidence and positive attitude, man. And we can all learn from you, young man. I can tell you.
Oh, yeah.
There are people my age or older that don't have the same courage you have right now. So I admire you for that.
Thank you. I don't let none of it bother me. I'm just sick and tired of doing it all. So I'm ready to be done.
I understand, man. I understand. And we're ready for you to be done. That's why we're doing this today, to try to help you out and help your family out. I know as a parent myself, I can only imagine what they're going through right now. So, yeah, we want to help you guys out as much as we can. Again, Joey Foster left a link to Landon's GoFundMe page. Right there it is on the screen right now. If you guys want to go to his GoFundMe, support him that way. Again, if you want to send me a Cash App, it's all at Couz's Corner, Couz's Corner. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. I accept all of them. Anything you send me, 100% of it during this show is going to go to Landon and his family through the champs raise that he has going on, or to his GoFundMe, whichever. But and again, you can go to Ollie Straw's Twitter account as well on X, and there's a link there where you can help him out through that. Landon, man, I'm going to let you go because I know you're probably ready to get home.
Oh, yeah.
Now that you're finished with your chemo, so.
Thank you for doing all this.
Absolutely. I appreciate you. I'm sorry the super chat thing's not working. That's just
no, it's fine.
A funky thing that YouTube you have to deal with sometimes. But
how what are you streaming? Like what are you gonna do? Is it something about game day tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm just talking about we're kind of celebrating, Pat McAfee's in Morgantown today, so we're kind of celebrating that. I'm doing a Q&A. I had some people send me some questions that I'm going to answer, and we're just going to talk about the Penn State game.
Okay, because I found you on YouTube on my phone because I'm on my dad's phone right now. Okay. So on the way home, or if you're still streaming when I get home, I might join in and I'll chat some.
Awesome, that'd be great, man. If I'm still on here.
All right, you're still on there. I'll see you then.
Awesome, Landon. Thank you for joining us, buddy.
All right, thank you so much.
Keep up the fight, man. We're behind you.
I will. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Now we have another guest coming. That was Landon Jaggy. Please support this young man. Send money to his GoFundMe. Send it to Champs Raise through Ollie Straw's link. Send it, to me through PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo, and I'll get it to him. We need to support this young man and his family. We have another special guest. Earbeard is joining the show. What's up?
Howdy, Couz. How's it going?
Going great, man. I appreciate you hopping on here. I know you're on a tight schedule today, so.
Yeah, no problem. I know we've been trying to kind of collaborate and get this stuff going. I finally got over to YouTube, so now I have the equipment. Still need to get a microphone and a better camera, but better late than never, I guess.
Yeah, let everybody know where they can find you at on YouTube. Actually,
yeah. So my channel is Earbeard, and then that's all my social media stuff as well: Facebook, Twitter, or X, and then I just got on Instagram. I joked yesterday I have no idea what to do on Instagram, but you can find me there anyway. And all that stuff is at Earbeard. So it's EERBEARD. And of course, I have my Trust the Beard podcast. I'm doing video now, but also I provide the audio to it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So, anytime you guys are looking for something else, I like to dive into some numbers and do some analytic stuff. So if you're interested in that, definitely check me out.
Yeah, he does good work over there. Recommend go support his YouTube channel. He's trying to get that thing up and running. And as somebody who's done it, I know it's not easy when you start something from scratch like that. Man, it's a labor of love, I call it, because you have to love it to keep at it, because it takes time.
Yeah, when I started this whole thing, I basically try to do as free as possible, just to get things started. And it's a hobby. I love the Mountaineers, and I just want to talk about it, but. Before we get into anything else, I wanted to touch on your previous guest and just talk about that. I heard the last bit of it. Man, I pray for that family. Yep. That's some rough stuff to go through, and it's at such a young age. And so I'll definitely be making a donation one way or another, and I encourage everyone to do that as well. It's easy to get riled up about football and things like that, but when you're dealing with something like that, everything just kind of gets pushed to the side. And I think about my life, and all of us can do that and just think, how lucky we are to wake up and not have to deal with something like that. So I just want to kind of put that in perspective for listeners and stuff like that. That's a tough thing for that family to go through. So I'll definitely be praying for him. Yeah,
appreciate that, man. I am too. When I saw Ollie put that out yesterday, and I knew I was doing this show, and I thought, man, what perfect timing. And I just as a dad myself, and I know you're a dad too, right? So
yep, 2 little ones.
I can only imagine what they're going through. Matter of fact, I'm getting emotional right now thinking about it, to be honest with you. May need to put some sunglasses on like you.
Well, the reason I actually do this, it's kind of funny. One of my friends called me out. He's like, "Why are you wearing sunglasses in the day?" I was like, "Well, my profile has sunglasses, so I thought I'd do it. But I found out if I don't have them, my eyes dart left and right and all over the place, and it looks weird. I was like, so
Okay.
if I put sunglasses on, then they can't see anything, and plus maybe it looks cool. I don't know.
Yeah. Joey Foster, great West Virginia fan and podcaster himself, put your YouTube handle up on the screen there. So everybody go check out Earbeard's YouTube channel and subscribe to it.
Thank you, Joey. Thank you so
Help
much.
us get that thing growing. Joey's the host over at West Virginia's Voice of College, the Voice of College Football West Virginia channel.
Okay.
With Mark Rogers there, but he was also, RIP to Golden Blue Dude. He was also Golden Blue Dude's producer, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
Before he passed. And so, yeah, Joey's very active in the YouTube community. So, and he's always promoting other, especially West Virginia YouTubers, but other YouTubers as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Joey. I appreciate it.
But yeah, let's dive into the West Virginia football. Let's dive in. First off, what are your thoughts on, I said before Landon came on, I think West Virginia right now, maybe I'm wrong, because I'm looking at it, from the West Virginia angle, but outside of Colorado, West Virginia is kind of the hot item right now, right? I mean, Pat McAfee Show's coming to town. You got all this big noon kickoff coming to town. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun time to be a Mountaineer fan right now, and that's something we haven't been able to say in, maybe 6 years, right? Since Holgerson's last year when we had all that hype with Will Greer and everything.
Yep.
I kind of like it, but also it kind of makes me nervous because, as lifelong fans, right when it seems like we're going to turn that corner, the rug gets pulled out from under us a little bit. But the excitement, I talked about yesterday, we did our Mountaineer Roundtable and I had my podcast. I used to live in Morgantown, and I absolutely miss days like this, being in Morgantown. And just a normal kickoff there's a lot of electricity, a lot of buzz, because football is back.
Right.
Now you're putting a number 8, the top 10 team, an old rival coming into town in Penn State, right? You got big noon kickoff, which, if people aren't familiar, that's basically Fox's college game day, like ESPN has. And so Pat McAfee coming into town, and I can just imagine the electricity is probably just cranked up, times 10 than what it normally would be. And so I think I like getting a lot of this attention for WVU. It's something we've lacked for a while, but I got to give Neil Brown a lot of credit for this. I mean, more so than ever, this is his team. There are no holdovers. He only had one last year, but more so than any, all the coaches, all the players, this is all him handpicked.
Absolutely.
And that's what's generating this kind of electricity. Of course, someone like Pat McAfee helps, being such I call him a huge megaphone for WVU with a national show and everything. But, Garrett Green has kind of been, you could say he was underrated, but coming into it, I think people are starting to see that he actually is a very electric player.
Yep.
And I know people harp on this 53%, his completion percentage. Well, if you look at Aller from last year, his was 59%. So, I mean, it wasn't like he was off the charts. And I think that PFF loves Garrett Green because they pick apart these garbage yards. And this, you think about Penn State last year, we gave up that big 70-yard touchdown early. Well, that was a missed tackle by Aubrey Burks.
Right.
So that was a 70-yard touchdown. Well, 50 of it was the wide receiver. The pass was only about 20 yards.
Mm-hmm.
But Aller gets credit for it. And I think with PFF, they break that stuff apart, and they realize that Garrett Green can put the ball on the money when he needs to, especially deep. And he makes big throws, and he avoids turnovers. So, I mean, those are the two biggest things that you need as a quarterback is putting the ball where it needs to be and avoiding turning the ball over.
Yeah. Perfect. And Jared Hill made a great comment here regarding that. Garrett was Neil's first recruit, is my understanding.
Yeah, he was.
And Jared says Neil's first recruit might prove to be his most important to his legacy in the grand scheme of things. That is a great comment, man.
Yeah.
I had never thought about it that way.
Right. And I think it shows, a lot of the early on in Neil's career, I mean, he got a lot of flack that we couldn't develop players. Right. And now you see his first recruit is kind of in the limelight and will the light won't be any brighter than it is Saturday. Maybe on down the line of the Big 12 title, or if we're getting a playoff or something like that. But for his career, this is his biggest game. And I feel totally comfortable with Garrett Green leading this team. It's not like a Austin Kendall or a Daggy where like, well, let's see what they do. If these guys play well and this guy helps out, we block well. I feel completely comfortable with Garrett Green leading this offense. And I haven't felt that way probably since, thinking guys of like Greer or Gino or, someone that's just going to take command of it.
Yep. Agreed. But what I like about this group is I feel, and look, we won't know until Saturday, obviously, and maybe even 3 Saturdays from now or 2, but when they play Kansas, because you don't see a whole lot against FCS opponents, and Penn State might be, sometimes when you play teams that are this good, it's also not a great gauge. But we'll know how good this defense is in a few weeks. But I feel like this defense is going to be better than, you mentioned the Greer and the Gino, a couple of those years. Now, not all of them, but a couple of those years we had some pretty porous defenses.
Yeah.
And I feel like this defense is going to be better than people think. That's just me.
Yeah, I agree. And one of the reasons is we have a lot more depth, I think. And I think part of it, too, is I know we lost some on the D-line. I talked about it yesterday. Mike Lockhart, James Hurd, and was it Durajaye?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 3 guys we lost. Hurd was a freshman, but it seemed like he had real potential.
Right.
And I know it's hard to replace that, and D-line is been a big importance for Neil Brown, both sides of the ball. But I think with this defense is why you're missing some key guys at the defensive line. I think overall the depth and the talent is better from top to bottom, spread out throughout the defense.
Yep.
And then you have a guy put on top of that, you have a guy like Aubrey Burks, who's a potential pro. I don't know where he'll get drafted. I don't know that much, but I definitely see a NFL future with him. I believe somewhere. Of course, you got Trotter now, who wasn't there last year. He is from what I understand, an NFL prototype.
Yep.
And he just looks different than everybody else. And I don't know if you were there for the spring game. I got to go to it, and he made quite a few plays. Now, I know it's spring. It's kind of it's a glorified practice, whatever. But, I think he'll make a huge impact. And of course, you have Lathan back. He broke his leg, and he was really coming on. And then you had, is it Bradley? Yeah.
Tyron Bradley.
Yes. Tyron Bradley had a good game in the bowl game. I just think you have more playmakers on defense than you had before. And one of the things I talked about that we're going to have to do this year is our turnovers are going to have to increase a lot, because I know we'll take care of the ball. I know, I don't have any doubt about the offense. We got a stout running game. Garrett Green does, he can run and avoid sacks and things like that. And, he doesn't turn the ball over. So I think we'll be good there. But on the other side, we got to get our hands on the ball or put the ball on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a staple from Neil Brown's defenses back in Troy. I had an episode the other day about that where I looked back and saw what they did when they had those successful years, and their turnover margin, he averaged was like 0.8 for those 3 years. So, they're almost turning the ball over or forcing an extra turnover more than the other opponent. And we finished last year at 0.2. So I think that's the biggest step that we need to take from any level is we need to create more turnovers. And I think that'll take us from like a 9-4 bowl game to possibly being in Dallas at the end of the year.
Yeah, I agree. And even with this game, I said in my preseason prediction show with Jonathan Martin, I think one of the keys of the game for me was turnovers. I think West Virginia needs to win the turnover battle by 2, to be honest with you, to try to steal a couple extra possessions from Penn State, burn clock, eat up clock, keep that offense, because Penn State's defense is really good.
Yeah,
it's going to be the best defense West Virginia plays all year, I think. So, and even though I have faith in our offense, that defense could be they could be on the in the elite category. Obviously we don't know yet because it's all on paper right now, but So I'm not sure how many points West Virginia's going to be able to score on them. So they need as many possessions as possible.
Yeah, we definitely at least have to win the turnover battle.
Sure.
I mean, I think that's just going to be a key to one of the victories. And like you said, possession of the ball, offense, we have to be efficient. I don't think we can afford to waste plays.
Mm-hmm.
And, I did this on the episode the other day, and it's just through the first quarter against Penn State last year, they scored their first touchdown in 4 plays. Now, we eventually tied up the game, and I forget how many total plays we ran, but we had 5 extra plays that we had to run because of a missed pass by Garrett Green.
Mm-hmm.
Or, CJ Donaldson ran into the back of Zach Frazier, where if he cut a little bit to the right, he probably had an open lane to the end zone. And there was a huge pass to Carter downfield, and the ball just sailed so high that Carter actually had to wait for it. Now, it was a huge play, like 30 yards downfield, but if he gets it more on the money, has less air under it, Carter's probably walking into the end zone.
Right.
So it's little things like that I think the offense has to work on as well, and to be able to win is just be efficient, make the most out of every play. And when you see those opportunities, I think we have to take advantage of them.
Agreed. I mean, I've heard Coach Brown talk about winning in the margins. They have to win in the margins.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly. It's just the small things that they need to do. You look at a program like Kansas State. That's how they've always been successful. Kansas State doesn't have a ton of money. They don't get a bunch of 5-star recruits, but they very seldom hurt themselves.
Yeah.
They're fundamentally sound. They don't turn it over, and they block and tackle.
Right.
I mean, you know what I mean? They just do the little things right.
Right. It's fundamental football.
Yeah. And they've always, even with Kleiman. Now, Kleiman's gotten, I mean, I'm not saying they never, I mean, obviously Avery Johnson was a 5-star kid, I believe, or at least 4-star. So they do get some of those kids occasionally, but for the most part, they're like West Virginia. They're having to take 3rd-star kids and develop them.
Right. Yeah.
And they've been able to do that, and they've done it by playing mistake-free football. And, a team that doesn't hurt themselves it's hard to beat.
Yeah, and I brought that up the other day too, that I compared Kansas State, Iowa, and Oklahoma State with all the stats I went through. Mm-hmm. Those are the big 4, right, really returning. They all finished ahead of us last year in the Big 12. We play them all this year. They've all had consistent success in the last 4 or 5 years. And Kansas State was at the top of the league in their turnover margin at 1 per game. So they were forcing 1 turnover more than their opponent every game. And that's one of the reasons they're doing so well. But like you said, they do the little things right. Now, the one thing about Neil Brown I like is I know we've had some bad penalties in weird places, like last year with Garrett Green taking his helmet off and stuff like that. But overall, we've been a pretty disciplined team. I think we've averaged about 50 yards per game, roughly. And if you go back and look at his time at Troy, they were about the same. So it's kind of a staple of his programs.
Right.
Obviously, I think the when you get more of his players in and developed and, these high character guys that take accountability and work on that stuff, that'll show out on the field more. So it's something I look forward this year to be the same, just to be more disciplined and hopefully with guys like Garrett Green and CJ Donaldson, they got those ticky-tack fouls, taking their helmet off. I'm hoping last year, even though we went 9-4 and had a good season, I hope there was a lot of learning experiences, right, that they can take and move forward and realize that here's the things you can do, here's the things you can't do. And so that's kind of the next step that some of these guys need to take. We know they're talented. We know they can rack up yards and make big throws and big plays. But now it's those little marginal things that we have to button up, if you're going to take it to the next level.
Agreed. And I think the addition of Drew Fabianich can't be talked about enough.
Yeah.
I mean, you talked about the length earlier. Think about the effect that'll have on special teams too. Block more kicks. How many kicks did West Virginia block last year? 2, 3?
2 in TCU.
They blocked 2 in the TCU. Yeah, 2 in the TCU game alone.
Yeah, 1 to win the game basically.
Yeah. 2 years ago they blocked a kick to beat Virginia Tech or help beat Virginia Tech in Blacksburg. I mean, that kind of stuff matters. And again, length, athleticism, fundamentals, it all comes down to that.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up Drew, because I think that's just I think having him is almost like a gold mine for WVU, because we're not going to recruit the best guys, and now with the transfer portal, a lot of these guys are shifting around, and we have a pretty good NIL fund now with the Country Roads Trust,
Right.
so you can pay those players, but now with him, you can scout guys that maybe are under the radar, and not necessarily look at the stars next to their name, but how they fit into your scheme and what they're going to do. And we've seen with that, we are bringing in bigger bodies and more length. And I think that's, crucial for any successful team. But now you're able to find them in places you normally wouldn't. Like we pulled Garnet Hollis from Northwestern.
Yep.
It's not really a guy that would have been on our radar typically. And so he has a lot of experience. We're bringing him in to replace Beanie Bishop, and hopefully he can develop just as well as he did. But I have confidence now that I think he's been on the staff. Drew has for a couple years now. I think he started last
August, wasn't it?
Was it all? Yeah,
July or August. You're right before the season, really.
Yeah, so he's kind of had a full year to assess everybody, and it's not just recruiting. Like I think he's assessing the players, and he knows what they need to do to get to the next level.
Correct, and that's priceless.
If you have that knowledge, and you can close that gap to where you need to be to play at the next level, then you're just going to be that much better at this level.
Yep, agreed. Denny Allen, who's a VIP member here, he says, Couz, your PFF rating comparison of Penn State and West Virginia's current and incoming players was pretty eye-opening. Yeah, it was eye-opening to me too, Denny, as I sat down and done it. I didn't expect West Virginia to be that close. Back to what Earbeard said earlier, I mean, West Virginia lost guys like Mike Lockhart. And yeah, I'm not saying they were bad players, but when you look at their PFF grades, they weren't very good.
Right.
The guys they brought in graded out much better last year than the guys they lost. And then when you compare West Virginia starters to Penn State's, they both average about 70.
Yeah.
Overall. Now, I understand I don't exactly know what Penn State starting lineup's going to be. Heck, I don't even know West Virginia's fully. I'm only going by what I found in my research. So Penn State fans came after me for that. They're like, this guy's not even a starter. I'm like, well, how the heck am I supposed to know? They didn't release a depth chart, for crying out loud. But anyway, that's you get used to that, because that's going to happen to you too, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
But that's part of it.
Right.
But no, you take the bad with the good, right? But the point being, though, West Virginia's talent gap is not as big as people think, at least according to PFF. Now, I know PFF's not the end-all, be-all. Some people don't even like it, but it's used by a lot of people in the industry, so it must be fairly accurate, or people wouldn't be using it. So,
yeah, I think it's one of those things, it's not everything, but it's something. You know what I mean? And I think it's a bigger piece of the puzzle than what people want to admit or even realize. And last year we had some of the returning starters at safety, and I kept seeing Aubrey Burks on those lists, and that surprised me, because I didn't I didn't pay that much attention. I was like, is he really that good? And of course, we see last year that he is that good. And he missed some games because of his concussion. But our last secondary coach, can't think of his name. He moved off to Troy to be the D coordinator.
Dante Wright. Yep. Yeah,
Dante Wright. He was talking about, from day one last year, Aubrey Burks was treating this like this is a contract. He's being a professional. And I think that's one of the great things that Neil Brown has brought to this program with his coaches, is teaching these guys what it means to be professional and play at the next level. Because if you're already doing that as a sophomore and a junior, I mean, that's going to reflect on the field.
Yeah.
And I don't see it.
And I sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was going to say, to me, I could even see, and maybe I'm reading too much into this, but when I watch press conferences of players, they're intelligent, they're mature, they're grown men, basically. Yeah. Whether no matter how old they are grown men. And I think you can look at that and kind of get a feel for the type of people Neil Brown is recruiting. Like, and I'm not saying Dana Holgerson was recruiting a bunch of,
knuckleheads.
Yeah, knucklehead. I couldn't think of the right word, but that's not what I'm trying to say. but I just think, I don't know. It just seems different. And so there's something different about the culture he's building here. And I think that's why the program, in my opinion, is on the right trajectory right now.
They're definitely what I would call high character.
Yeah.
And, one of the things he's instilled that I see a lot is accountability. And I know that he brings it on himself as well. He's talked about it before that, he's going to tell a player what they need to do. He's going to be straight with them. And he does that with recruits as well. And I think he kind of has this mentality that if you don't want to play here, if you're not going to be committed, I don't want you here. I'm not going to try to bring in a 5-star guy just because you're 5-star. But if you're not committed to what we're doing, then you might as well be a 3-star because you're not going to get the most out of them. And so I think those are the kind of guys that he likes to recruit. I think it shows. And like you said, in the interviews, they all seem well-spoken, level-headed, just ready to go. And I think they buy into what he has or what he's been preaching to them. And I think they have that accountability. They understand that, the only way they're going to get in the field is if they follow the plan, in the off season and things like that, and productivity. I know they grade these guys out like every day.
Yeah.
And they keep track. I heard Bilal Marshall talk about it. He's like, every day these guys know exactly where they stand.
Right.
I think that's the communication part of that is key, because I don't feel like these kids are being brought in and lured with promises of this and it doesn't happen. Like,
right.
I think they know where they stand every minute of every day.
He's a straight shooter. Absolutely. Yep. Well, Earbeard, I know how much time you got. Do you need to get back?
I probably got a few more minutes.
Okay, good. That's awesome. Good. I didn't want to mess your day up. Browns and Beer says, I've heard PFF is like Wikipedia. They'll give their ratings, but the larger point of it is for you to go back, watch the film on individual players, and that's what helps break down what guys are doing. That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to show real quick. I was going to look at see if the line for this game's come down any. I know it here over at BetUS. Still at 8. It was, someone sent me a message earlier. Apparently, on some sites it's went down to 7.5. If you want to get in on the action before it drops at BetUS, make sure to hit the link in my description box. Take advantage of the 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 at BetUS.com. And please play responsibly. But if you want to get in before that number drops, if you want to take the points on West Virginia, make sure you do it before it drops again.
What are the points? What's the over-under right now?
The over-under is 51.5, and then the spread is 8.
8. My guess is probably over. If I had my prediction, I had 28-25 with Penn State. Now, I did say that I fully believe that West Virginia can upset Penn State.
Right.
I just don't. In my gut, I'm like, it's hard for me to just say, oh yeah, they're going to go out there. It's the first game of the season. It's so hard to know. But I think this is our best chance. Is Penn State coming to an environment like this? You got your new coordinators. There's going to be some wrinkles that they got to figure out, and it's not like you're doing it against Delaware or Duquesne or something. Like you're coming into Morgantown, right into the fire, and trying to work out the kinks in your offense. And really, I think part of the advantage with West Virginia is, the defense last year is not even the same as it is this year. We have so many different parts and guys that are back that someone like Trotter, things like that we didn't have. And of course, a couple new cornerbacks. Then also offensively, Jaheim White didn't play last year. So there's certainly elements that of players that we have coming back that weren't really featured in the first game. And so I think that'll make a difference. I think we closed the gap from last year, but I don't know if we can completely pull it off yet. And I hate saying that.
I do too. I predicted us to lose too.
Like after this off here, I'm going to have to get on my knees and pray and forgive the football gods for even saying something like that. But it's just a gut feeling, and if we do, boy, I don't know if Morgantown will burn or not.
Yeah. By the way, I don't usually drink this early in the day, and I'm not going to drink much, but it's National Jimmy Buffett Day apparently in Florida. Pat McAfee's in Morgantown, so I figured I'd have me a couple sips of a margarita
There you go.
during the show. But anyway,
I got my coffee here. This is my normal.
yeah, I'm not going to drink that whole glass. It's too early in the day.
Yeah, right.
I made it. I'm like, why am I making this much? I'm not going to drink it all. Anyway,
but yeah, I think I'd pick the over, and I think I'd pick West Virginia to cover. I think it's going to be a pretty tight game.
Yeah, I did pick them to cover. I haven't placed a, and I took them at minus. I took them to be over 6.5 wins on the year.
Oh yeah, I feel pretty strong about that one as well.
Yeah, I need to pick the. I haven't picked the over under yet, but if I had to pick it, I'd go under because I think they're both going to run the football a lot. And now weather. Keep in mind the weather could be bad too tonight.
Yeah,
or tomorrow. So that could play a role too. Who do you think? By the way, if weather's bad, let me read this comment real quick from Big Dan T. He says, "If we win the trench battle, we win the game. Challenging but doable." Agreed, Big Dan T. But man, that Penn State D line is going to be good. That's what worries me. And I'm a little bit nervous about a couple spots on our offensive line. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, replacing a guy like Frazier, that's you can't. Basically, you're never going to replace someone like that. You know, maybe if you're Ohio State or Michigan or Alabama or something like that, and you got another guy waiting in the wings. But even so, like, what are the chances that you plug in a backup that's going to be a second round pick,
right,
with another one? So I think that's kind of like the O-line's kind of how I feel about the defense is you lost a key player and a obviously a huge contributor to our success. But I think overall the line is deeper and more talented than it was last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have because a lot of those guys had to get some experience, and we'll see what Yates does. Is it Yates that's playing center now? Yeah, and we'll see how he did. I mean, he did pretty good at the bowl game. We didn't have any issues, and so I like Matt Moore as our O-line coach, and I think it's proven that we can develop linemen pretty well. So it's just time for them to take the next step in their development. And so I think their D-line will probably give us issues, but the fact that we have a mobile quarterback makes me feel better about it because we know that Garrett Green can scramble out of trouble, if they're getting the pressure on us and things like that, and hopefully have some help, some safety help with Jaheim White, getting the ball out to him and getting to the playmakers and things like that. But I was on the round table last night, and one of the guys brought up a good point. He said, I think we run right at him. And I was like, well, you probably do that to test out how effective you can be. I mean, you have to. You have to.
I think they'll run the ball first because it's going to be so emotional. If West Virginia gets the ball first, maybe even if they get it second, because the first time the offense is on the field, I guess is still the same. But there's going to be so much emotion and adrenaline. Do you really want to throw the football unless you're going to throw it deep? Now, if you want to come out and throw a bomb on the first play, but I'm not sure you want to take that kind of risk. I'm running CJ or Jaheim play one of the game. I kind of agree with that. It's probably going to be expected, but I still think you do it, like you said, just to get a feel for how well the O-line is going to be able to block, kind of see what Penn State's doing, how their D is going to react, and kind of get and it's good to get hit and get the jitters out.
Oh yeah, I know Holgerson used to always say that about Skylar Howard. He's like he liked him to get hit because it kind of got the like I said, once the ball kicks, they always talk about this as Super Bowl. It's just a football game. All the hype and all the pregame stuff goes away, and you just have to play football. And so, and I think tomorrow's going to be at least the first quarter is going to be a real chess match, and I think you have to run at them. You have to test your O-line and test your running backs and test their D-line and see what they're made of and see if you're going to be able to do this for the rest of the game. So I agree. I think they come out running. It'd be nice to get some sort of big special teams play to help us, a big turnover, pick six or something like that. I think something like that's going to need to happen.
Agreed.
for us.
West Virginia's got to make some plays, force turnovers, block some kicks or a kick, something. Scoop and score, pick six, and it don't even have to be a pick six, but we'll take it. But I'm just excited. I mean, I'm excited to see the new face. You know, a lot of fans complain about the transfer portal. I think it's kind of exciting to see how these new guys play to a degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's free agency for college football. Yeah. So, and I think it's benefited now with the caveat, as long as you have the money, I think it'll benefit a lot of schools. It certainly has benefited us, you know, to be able to get guys that you don't have to wait and develop, but you can pull them from other programs and kind of plug them in. You know, think about Beanie Bishop and Garnett Hollis and things like that, where we have a need and we were able to plug them in, but also to be able to retain players. You know, you certainly have to have the NIL money to do it. But I think everyone was panicked about the portal, and it was just going to be kind of the Wild West. And I always thought it from the beginning. The point I made was, you know, there's still limited amount of roster spots. So teams like Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State, they can't hoard all this talent with the portal. Somebody's got to fall off. You know, if they're recruiting 4 or 5 star guys and you're bringing in more portal guys from other Power 5, then those guys got to fall off to the side. Somebody's got to get replaced. And so those guys eventually will start trickling down to teams like West Virginia and things like that. So I understand the fear of it early because, like I said, you thought teams would just hoard it, but you know they have to replace somebody. Somebody has to go if they're bringing in people. So I think we've done a good job. You know, Ren Baker and the Trust and Neil Brown and Drew Fabianich. I think all that stuff together really has West Virginia moving in a positive direction.
Yep, agreed. Totally agree. Real quick, I want to Tammy Jaggy, who is Landon Jaggy's mother, is in the chat, or was in the chat at least. Tammy, I want to send my heartfelt prayers and well wishes to Landon and to you and his family. As a dad myself, I can only imagine what you're dealing with right now. So, and I want to also let everybody know that I was looking as Earbeard was talking there. I went over to champsraise.com and looked at the page they have for Landon there that Ollie Straw is helping with. Their goal is $3,000. Right now, they're only up to $919.67. So they're a little over $2,000 away from reaching their goal. Help them reach their goal. Go over to the website. I posted the link earlier in the chat. I'll post it again here shortly. But let's try to get that up to 3,000. And again, any Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal donations you want to send me during the show, I will send directly to either the GoFundMe or the Champs Race page for Landon. So my super chats aren't working, unfortunately, because of the transition I'm making on my channel, but we can still do it. But hey, it might even be better because that way YouTube doesn't get 30% of the money.
Yeah, hey, more the money they can get, the better.
Yep, that's right. Denny Allen says, I think if Penn State plays press man, which I hope they do, I believe that leaves a lot of yards to be gained by Garrett looking at the backs of DBs. It's a great point.
Yeah, and hopefully our wide receivers are able to beat some of that press man. I know that was something we struggled with last year. And you hopefully another year, bigger, stronger. Under Mike Joseph in that program. I think of a guy like Hudson Clement, who just seems like he knows how to make big plays. Take the ball that extra step and get extra yards and things like that. So, maybe you see a lot of slants if they're doing the press stuff, and hopefully Garrett Green has worked on his. Not hopefully, I know he's worked on his short game. I think he'll be improved there. So I just hope our wide receivers are able to beat that kind of press man if that's something they see.
Agreed.
Now I heard on I think it might have been In the Gun or something like that. The defense that Penn State's going to be running is 4-2-5, and their coordinator, it leans more towards like zone defense. And so I thought, if Garrett Green has picked up his passing game and he can pick that stuff apart, I think we'll do pretty well. Of course, that's a lot easier to run against. I think,
Yep.
It leaves a little more open space sometimes. And so we'll just have to see.
Yep. Agreed. Well, Earbeard, I appreciate you coming on. Before I let you out of here, I've got another guest to bring on, but before I let you out of here, I'm going to let everybody know where to find you at and where to support your work.
Yeah, man. Thanks. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. It's been a blast.
Anyone, if you want to follow me on social media, on Facebook and on X and on Instagram at Earbeard, that's EERBEARD. Also, a YouTube channel now, same handle, Earbeard. And I have a Trust the Beard podcast you can listen to. I do my video version. Also have an audio version on Spotify and on Apple Podcast. So you can just search Trust the Beard or just search WVU. You'll see my little logo come up there. But I appreciate you guys, any follows and people have listened and subscribed. I appreciate it. And Couz, I appreciate you having me on. And
absolutely, man.
We'll see what we can do tomorrow.
Glad we could finally make it work out.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, thanks for coming on, man, and enjoy the weekend and enjoy the game tomorrow. Are you going to the game?
No, actually,
okay.
I'll be traveling. Kind of like a little mini vacation.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I'll watch part of the game at home, and then I gotta run off to the airport. So
okay.
Well, I told my wife she has to drive because I'm going to have to be watching on my phone.
I'm with you. I don't blame you, brother. Listen, have a great day. Enjoy your weekend and enjoy your mini vacation with your family.
All right. Thank you, sir. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Let's bring on another guest, another West Virginia podcaster, Mr. Forrest Poston from WVU Football Going Deep. Forrest, how you doing?
I haven't slowed down yet enough to figure that out this morning.
Uh-oh.
The question, though, is do we have any feedback?
I can hear you. I can hear you just fine.
Okay. Last time I was on with Joey, we had major feedback options. I was hoping I had things affected, but that's also why you're seeing my profile with this arrangement.
Right.
I can either look at you or look at the camera.
Well, it's all good. It doesn't matter to me as long as we can hear you.
Thanks for having me on.
No problem. I know we've been trying to work it. I can actually adjust your mic settings on my end a little bit. That's what I was doing. But you sound good. I can hear you.
Okay.
I always appreciate your glass half full approach to the game and to West Virginia as a whole. But let me get before we get into the game part of it, let me get your take on, I don't know how, let me get your take on the Pat McAfee meeting in Morgantown today. What are your thoughts on that overall?
I mean, there's no denying it's big for the program.
Yeah.
McAfee has a following. He creates excitement. I'm not a fan of his show. I don't like his approach particularly, but I appreciate what he is doing for the program.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, I agree. I don't watch it. I watch his show occasionally, but I'm not like a diehard fan. Now my future son-in-law he loves it. He watches it daily. So
a lot of people do.
But he's in that demographic, I think, that like it. He's in his early 20s. So that's the demographic that West Virginia needs to attract, in my opinion. And even more importantly, they need to attract kids who are planning to go to college in the next 2, 3, 4 years.
Oh, yeah.
Because they need to get the enrollment up. And what better way to do that than having Pat McAfee on your campus?
Yeah, it's hard to beat the publicity.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so let's get before we get into the game, let everybody know about your channel, where they can, what I know obviously you cover West Virginia football, but just give us the, what's your mission, vision, whatever of your channel, and where they can support you.
Well, it all started with guys like there's this guy named Couz who likes to go into the numbers a lot.
Mm-hmm. That guy's an idiot.
Well, no, but it was a perspective. And, numbers are one thing. I'm more sort of what's behind the numbers.
Yeah.
I like to ask the question of why a lot.
Right.
So I kind of felt there was a niche there that needed to be filled. And
mm-hmm.
kind of, because I don't do the numbers, you do.
Yeah.
If people watch both of us, I think they get a more complete picture.
Absolutely. That's a great point. We need voices of all different perspectives. That's one thing. That's the cool thing about YouTube, man. And especially West Virginia fan base. There's a lot of us West Virginia YouTubers out there, and we're all different. We're not going to give you, there's myself, there's Forrest at WVU Football Going Deep. Go subscribe to his channel, by the way. There is, now what is now Locked On West Virginia with Mountaineer Paul. There's, West Virginia's Voice of College Football channel. There's, Jordan and the guys over at Country Roads Webcast. I'm sure I'm leaving. There's Earbeard that was just on here. There's the Raspy Voice Kids podcast. You can go down the list. There's dozens of us, but we're all different, and that's what's cool about it. And that's why I think there's enough room for all of us to be successful in this space. So, but anyway,
no one person can do it all, and we're really mostly not repeating each other. So
correct. Yep. Forrest, obviously I'm planning on cutting the show off about noon when the game starts, and I've got a Q&A to do, and I'm gonna let you do it with me if you're cool with that.
I'm up for that. Yeah.
I put some questions. I put a post on Twitter a few days ago asking people to chime in with their questions, and I'm going to draw the questions out of this nice little coonskin cap that I have so that we don't know what order they're in.
Now, was that coonskin or Couz skin?
Couz, a good point. Hey, it ain't Couz skin, but I like the name. And it's probably not even real coonskin, to be honest. It's not the real deal. Those are like $300 or $400. Anyway, let's this is like the $50 version off Amazon. All right, first question. Captain Knee-High on Twitter says, I'll give my answer and I'll let you answer. How many all-purpose yards do you think Garrett Green will get in the Penn State game? Also, do you think UConn, Pitt, NC State, and Virginia Tech will join the Big 12? Let's answer the first one. How many all-purpose yards do I think Garrett Green will get in the Penn State game? I think Garrett will end up with about 350 all-purpose yards. That's about 75 yards rushing and about 250 yards passing, something like that. Forrest, what do you think?
I'm in the same range. I was thinking 75 yards running at least.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, we don't want him to be forced to run too much, and a minimum of 200 passing. So I'm saying I'm coming in a little lower than you at a minimum of 275.
Yeah.
But he could easily hit 350. And of course, how well does the running game work? That determines how well.
Bingo.
Or if they may come in and just decide to go with the pass and surprise Penn State.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
But I would say a minimum of 275, somewhere between 275. I think 350 might be the high end.
Yeah, you're probably right. And I don't even think I think my math was off. I think I actually landed at 325, but Timbo, who's a channel member here, he says, come on, 75 yards against a great Penn State defense. You all are nuts. Well, that's part of the problem, Timbo. I'm not sure the other guys are going to get as many yards as I'd like to see them get. So Garrett may have to run the ball more than we want him to. That's kind of my my thinking. But anyway.
Well, also some people are saying Penn State needs to bring pressure, which means man-to-man coverage, and Green is better when you bring pressure. His numbers go up, and man-to-man coverage opens the field for the quarterback because they're not watching the quarterback. So if they do bring pressure and go man-to-man, we could be looking at 150 yards for Green on the ground.
Great point. Now, the next question, I don't know how much you get into conference realignment for us, but this is a conference realignment question. Also, do you think UConn, Pitt, NC State, and Virginia Tech will join the Big 12? I'll let you answer that one first.
I know they've been talking to UConn. I'm not that big on bringing in primarily basketball. But again, the Big 12 is a big basketball conference, so UConn would fit. Yep. I definitely see Pitt coming in. NC State is iffy. What will happen, I think, is completely unpredictable right now. What I want to happen is a different story, and that's like Pitt, Virginia Tech, Louisville. Yeah. And I'd like to see Syracuse actually.
Yeah, they're not a bad ad. I actually do think I think Brett Yormark will end up, because he's trying so hard to do it. I do think we'll end up getting UConn in the Big 12. Not as confident about the other ones, but I know that's his end goal is to get some ACC schools, I think. But so to answer your question, I do think they get UConn, and we'll probably get a couple of the ACC schools, but I'm not sure Pitt will be one of them. But I wouldn't be shocked if we get Virginia Tech and NC State, though. Just my opinion. All right. Next question comes from Rockin' Rant, who you can find over at the College Football Mafia Network. He says, will Morgantown still be standing if WVU wins? It will be standing, but it'll be a big mess to clean up. Let's just leave it at that.
And they'll clean it up happily.
Yep, absolutely. I don't even know if we need to both answer that one. All right, next one. Brandon Bailey at WVU Brandon, who's also a VIP channel member here. He says, if Penn State was to beat us, how close of a game does it need to be before fans start to freak out and say we are overrated? So he's talking about the negative. I don't want to say that. He's talking about the more pessimistic fans out there, I guess.
Well,
to me, if we lose by 3 scores, 3 touchdowns, then I think some fans will say that probably. What about you?
I mean, there's some people out there, it doesn't matter what happens in the game. They are going to say West Virginia is bad. If West Virginia wins, they'll say, Penn State's overrated. If West Virginia loses, if West Virginia loses by a point, some people are going to be calling for Neil Brown's job.
Right. There are people calling for it already.
Oh, yeah. And I'm not so worried about that. I want them to win. And what the people on that extreme say, I don't much care anymore.
I hear you. All right. The Mountaineer guy says, what do you think will be ranked if we beat Penn State? Good question. I think I'm just going to throw out a crazy number. I'm going to say 21.
It's probably about the right range. Of course, it depends on how we beat them, how close it is, how well. I mean, if both teams play well and West Virginia wins, I think we should go at least into the top 20. If Penn State, for some reason, screws up and we win, I don't think they'll move us that high, but at least into the top 25.
Right. Yep, we're on the same page on that one. All right. Next question from Mountaineer Steve. Is PSU really that good, or are they overrated like FSU was or is? I'll let you go first on that one, Forrest.
Well, of course, we don't really know if Florida State's overrated based on just the first game of the season. They may still play the rest of the season as expected. I don't think Penn State is overrated, but at the same time, they do have a history in the last 15 years of not fully living up to expectations. So they come in rated number 8 and then finish 12 to 15, which is still great unless you're Penn State and everybody was expecting you to be number 1.
Right.
But I mean, they're a great team. No two ways about it. How well they will play and how well they'll adapt to the new coordinators, still a big guess.
Yep. All right. Here's a big one. Mountaineer Paul from Locked On, West Virginia says, should WVU start a tradition with number 1 since I feel like we are more skill player U over the years now with Day, Jaheim, and others coming up, and obviously what we've had in the past? Or is there another number you fancy? I considered 44 in B-ball as well, and I forgot to show the rest of the comment, but basically he's asking, now that we had Tavon Austin at number 1, Jaheim White's number 1 now, should they start a tradition, I guess, giving our top offensive guy number 1? I'm assuming that's what he means here.
No. If you do that, you're going to have one guy who's happy and a lot who are not.
Agreed. And also, I mean, what about number 5? What about number 9? What about, you know what I'm saying? I think if you do it with one number, then it creates
a lot of great numbers out there, and you want competition, but I don't necessarily like the idea of rewarding one player in that way. Reward them with playing time and opportunities.
Now, if they're a senior and they want that number and nobody else has, like Sean Martin this year where he changed to 5, you know what I mean? He's earned his stripes. He's a senior. He's put in the work. He's put in the time. It was for a great cause. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but again, you don't take it away from somebody else unless they want to trade.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Brian Metcalf says, should the John Denver Bowl be a 3-way like the Commander-in-Chief Trophy between WVU, Texas Tech, and Colorado?
I mean, it would be interesting. I'd like the idea more after Sanders is gone from Colorado. But it's an interesting idea. But I don't know how the scheduling and all would play out.
Yep. Timbo says WVU is treated as they deserve. You have to gain respect. West Virginia beat absolutely no one last year, and you think they should have been respected. No way. And Timbo's a West Virginia fan, by the way. He's just more of I'll call him a realist. Forrest may consider him a glass half empty fan. Timbo's a big supporter of the show. Really appreciate his support. But he's, he has a little bit more different view of things. Forrest, you want to respond to that at all? Or no?
I think he takes the negative side, but that gives us something to talk about.
Yep. As far as the John Denver Bowl question, I think it's hard in today's age where you have so many teams in the conference now and the schedules are unbalanced. I don't think it's reasonable for those 3 teams to play each other every year. And if you don't all play each other every year, I'm not sure you can have a true trophy series. So if you know what I mean. But a great question. Now this last one, this guy sent me multiple questions. Not sure if I'll have time to address them all, but we'll try. Red Thunder says, well, his first question I'm not addressing because he was just talking trash and being funny. The second one was, why is the Vegas over under for West Virginia 6.5 with a slight hint to take the over? I think he's talking about the season win total. I think it's because people see their schedule and think and don't see. I think the outside world doesn't view West Virginia as being better than last year, talent wise. To be real, I don't think they spent a lot of time researching it. And West Virginia has arguably the toughest schedule in the Big 12. I think that's why they have that number. Forrest, what do you think?
Well, I mean, part of it, I think they don't look at how the offense shifted in the second half of the season. They don't look at how much the loss of Lathan hurt the defense. So they don't understand the offense is going to be starting out strong. Defense identified the problems, fixed the problems, and they just haven't taken a look.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's what happens if you look too much at numbers and not enough at the people.
Right. Agreed. Browns and Beer says, I think we maybe should have ended up somewhere near the back of the top 25 at the end of last season. Maybe just my opinion. Yeah, I think so too. But
well, at least one list had us in the top 25, maybe 2.
Yeah,
just not the major ones.
Yeah, Daniel Sargent says prayers up for Max Johnson. Dude might miss the rest of the season for a broken leg. Ooh, I hate to hear that. Speaking of prayers, don't forget Landon Jaggy, the young man I had on the show earlier, who's fighting cancer. Ollie Straw is raising money for. Go to Ollie Straw at Ollie_Straw on Twitter. There's a link in his on his post there, and I'm gonna post it in the comments. So you can go send some money to this site, and it goes to Landon Jaggy and his family to help raise money for his cancer battle. A 17-year-old young man lives in Clarksburg, West Virginia. So let's support that. And if anybody wants to send me a Venmo, a Cash App, or a PayPal at Couz's Corner, Couzs Corner, I will donate that to Landon. So I was going to do super chats, but I'm making a transition here on the channel, and unfortunately, super chats aren't working for the show. So, and I think there was one more question here on this sheet from Red Thunder. He says, is it worth it to come to Morgantown when Utah visits in 2025? He's a Utah fan. Yes, it's worth it. Utah's West Virginia's a beautiful state. Our mountains are different than your mountains. So I think you'll appreciate that. And especially if you come in the fall when the leaves have changed and the whole bit, I think you'll find it to be a great place to visit. And it's a great game day atmosphere. The fans are passionate. We love our football and we love our Mountaineers. Forrest, what do you say to that comment, that question?
It's worth coming whether there's a game or not.
Great point.
Of course,
Yes, Kelly.
If you're coming from Utah, you should at least already know how to drive on these kind of roads.
Absolutely. Yep. Kelly McCourt makes a great point. Landon Jaggy also has a GoFundMe page for those of you who can afford to donate. Please go to the GoFundMe page as well. It's Landon. I think it's Landen. Let me look at the spelling again. Yeah, it's Landen, not O-N. Jaggy. Go to GoFundMe and look him up and donate money if you can. Let's get this young man to his goal of $3,000. Right now, as we started the show, he was under 1,000. So let's get him there. Well, Forrest, man, before we roll, I want to take one more look here at the BetUS lines and give a shout out to my sponsor, BetUS Online Sportsbook and Casino. The line is still at at 8. I'm sorry. West Virginia's still an 8-point dog. The line has moved down somewhere over the last few days. Do you think that 8 number is fair or not?
Yeah. I mean, it's fair. It's better than when we were 12.5 and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Better than last year. I still think we beat it.
Yep. I agree. I took West Virginia points. What about the over-under on the score of 51.5 total score? You think that's high or low?
I mean, that is, I hate to even guess.
Yeah.
I'd like to say that it's about right, but West Virginia gets most of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I expect the West Virginia defense to actually be exceptionally good. And I think it was Garnett Hollis who said we could be a top 10 defense.
Yeah, he did.
And if you look at what we did to Penn State the first 2.5 quarters last year, we may hold them under 20 points.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the ability.
Yep. Timbo, thank you, my man. He just gifted 10 memberships. So 10 of you got gifted memberships. Make sure to take advantage of the early videos I release on occasion. And I will also be giving you some shout outs in some videos coming up. Big Dan T in the house says, I got in when it was 10.5. So Dan was the smart one and got in early. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to show that again to get your take on the spread there's Forrest of 8. I think it's probably about right, honestly, based on where Penn State's ranked and where West Virginia's not ranked and all that.
I think they are showing some respect in that regard.
Agreed. All right. Well, Forrest, one more time, let everybody know where they can find you at.
Well, WVU Football Going Deep on YouTube, also under that name on Facebook, and just Going Deep on X Twitter.
And Timbo had a comment for you. He obviously, it's all in fun, but he says, Forrest, leave those West Virginia shrooms alone.
And now I'd have to drive 6 hours just to get to West Virginia. So.
Yep. Well, thank you, Browns and Bears. I'm getting ready to call it a show anyway because I know everybody wants to watch the Pat McAfee Show. Another shout out to my sponsors, Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner Attorneys at Law. Check them out at yourlawyeryourvoice.com if you're in West Virginia, need a medical attorney. And can't forget BetUS Online Sportsbook and Casino. Check out the link to them in my description box. If you want to place a bet today, please play responsibly and take advantage of their offer, 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. Forrest, thank you for coming on the show, man.
Thanks for asking. Love being here.
Absolutely. Everybody have a great day. Enjoy the Pat McAfee Show and enjoy the game tomorrow. Let's go Mountaineers. Q Country Roads.